I want to start with a question that sounds simple and isn't. What is the single most powerful thing in the town? Most people would say the monsters. Some would say the talismans, or the man in yellow, or whatever's going on with the lighthouse. And those are all big, but I've been pulling on a thread for a while now, and I think the real answer is something almost nobody lists, because it's not a creature, and it's not an object, it's a sound. Once you start watching this show for sound, instead of for monsters, something clicks into place, and it does not unclick. Almost every supernatural thing that happens in From, the deepest secret of the bottle tree, the thing that kills people in their sleep, the voice that's been running Sarah's life since the first episode, the way the villain first made contact, every one of them travels the same way. Through sound, through music, through a voice, through a frequency. So here's what I want to argue today, and I'm going to take my time and build it properly, because I think it's the closest thing to a unified theory of this whole show that I've found. I think sound is the operating system of the town. I think the people who live there are receivers, whether they know it or not. And I think the entire war, the children, the man in yellow, the way in, the way out, is being fought on a frequency most of the residents can't even hear. Let me show you. If we have not met before, I am the digital self of Mr. Toshi. He is the one watching every episode, reading every line of the script, doing the research, writing every theory you are about to hear. Every word in this video is original work he wrote himself. He is in every comment thread, though, reading every word you leave him. Let me start with the bottle tree, because it's the clearest proof, and because it's the thing the show spent 3 seasons turning into the center of everything. If you've watched, you know the image. A tree out in the forest, hung with dozens of glass bottles. Not 12, not some neat number, many of them, all over the branches. And inside each bottle is a little slip of paper, and on every slip there are numbers, 4-digit numbers mostly, scrawled, some of them written backwards, some repeated, some of them running way up past 9,000. And here's the thing everyone did with those numbers for 2 whole seasons, including me. We read them as dates. They look like years. 4 digits, that's a year, right? So the theories were all about timelines. Which year is which? Are these the cycles? Is this a record of who arrived when, who died when? Everybody treated the bottle tree like a calendar, a ledger of time. It was never a calendar. In season 3, the show finally tells you what those numbers actually are. And it's the single most important reveal in the series for understanding how this place works. Jim is the one who cracks the first piece of it. He looks at the numbers and realizes they aren't dates at all. They're notes. The 12 numbers map onto the 12 notes of a musical scale. The whole tree, all those bottles, all those slips that looked like a list of years. It's sheet music. It's a song, broken into pieces and hidden inside glass. And when Jade takes the sequence and works out the melody, he has this moment that should give you chills, because he realizes he already knows the song. It's a lullaby. He plays it on a violin, out at the tree, and the children come. The Anghkooey children, who nobody else can see, gather at the tree while the lullaby plays. And as the song plays, it pulls back something that had been buried in him and in Tabitha for lifetimes. Their memories, who they really are. The fact that their past selves used to sing that exact lullaby to those exact children, one of whom was their own daughter, before the other adults in the town sacrificed all of them for the immortality that turned them into the monsters. Sit with what just happened there, mechanically. The deepest, most protected secret in the entire show. The truth about the children, the sacrifice, the origin of the monsters, the real identities of 2 of the main characters, was not hidden in a book, or a vision, or a locked room. It was hidden in a song, and the only way to access it was to play the song, not read it, not solve it, play it, out loud. The truth of this town is audio, and it only unlocks when it's heard. That is the whole theory in one image. The most important thing in the town is a sound, and they disguised it as a list of years so nobody would ever think to play it. Now here's where it gets bigger, because that lullaby is not the only song in this show. There's a second one, and the 2 of them are opposites in every way that matters. If you've seen my video on the music box, you know where I'm going. Back in season 2, there's that other piece of music, the music box, the dancing woman, the melody that follows Boyd around. And look at what that song does compared to the lullaby. The lullaby summons the children gently, and gives people their memories back. It restores. It wakes you up to who you are. The music box melody does the exact reverse. It pulls people down into sleep. It invades dreams. It renders people catatonic, and it kills them where they lie. And when Elgin gets caught in it, the boy in white gives him a warning that, in this framework, is the most literal instruction in the entire series. He says they come for 3 unless you stop the melody. Stop the melody, not stop the monster. Not run, not hide, not pray. The threat is a song, and the defense is silence, because the song is the thing doing the work.
Who is this?
So now look at what we've got. 2 pieces of music, doing 2 opposite jobs. One song remembers, one song kills. One wakes you up to the truth. One puts you under so something can reach you. The lullaby and the melody are not random spooky audio cues. They're 2 sides of a war, and the weapon both sides are using is sound. And the show even tells you how to fight back in the same scene. How do you beat the killing song? You end it. You make it stop. Boyd destroys the music box, and the visions stop, because you don't defeat a frequency by fighting it. You defeat it by cutting the signal. That's not how you beat a monster. That's how you beat a broadcast. Okay, so the town has a secret song and a killing song. Now let's talk about the villain, because once you're listening for it, you realize the man in yellow's entire method is sound. Think about how he actually operates. For most of this show, he doesn't show up and attack you. He doesn't need to. He gets inside your head as a voice. Sarah Myers is the clearest case, and Season 4 confirmed it outright. The voices that have been running Sarah's life since the very first season. The ones that told her to hurt people. The ones that wrote, "Kill the boy." That's him. That's the man in yellow, speaking directly into her for years, and she could never tell anyone, because nobody else could hear it. That's not possession in the usual horror sense. It's transmission. He's a voice on a private channel that only Sarah is tuned to. And look at what he does with that channel in Season 4. He runs her through that whole obedience test, the one the show frames with the story of Abraham, where the point was never the task, it was whether she'd obey the voice. He's testing the strength of his own signal, checking if she's still receiving, still tuned in, still listening. And Sarah isn't the only one. The man in yellow talks to people. That's his signature. He reaches into a mind and he speaks, and the person on the other end can't tell where the voice ends and their own thoughts begin. He doesn't break down your door, he gets on your frequency. Now here's the piece that makes this a theory and not just a list of spooky sounds. Because not everybody hears this stuff. Most residents go their whole time in that town without a single voice or vision. So the question is, what makes a person a receiver? And I think the show gives us a consistent answer, and it's 2 things, blood and grief. Take Boyd. Boyd doesn't hear the music box or see the dancing woman at first. None of that touches him. Until Martin grabs him, cuts both their hands, presses them together, and says, "My blood is your blood now." The worms go into Boyd's blood, and that is the exact moment he starts hearing the music box that nobody else can hear and seeing the dancer nobody else can see. The blood didn't just make him sick, it tuned him in, it changed his reception. After that, he's picking up a station the people around him can't. Sarah's a slightly different version. Hers seems to come through what she's carrying inside. The loneliness, the guilt, the cracks. The wound is the antenna. Grief opens you up to the signal. And once you see that, you understand why I keep saying Henry is in serious trouble. Because in Season 4, the man in yellow, wearing Sophia, cut his own hand and put his blood into Henry's drink. Same ritual, same words, basically, that Martin used on Boyd. My blood, your blood. If blood is what tunes a person in, then Henry just got tuned in. And I'll come back to that in the predictions, because I think we are about to watch Henry start hearing something. So the residents aren't just victims wandering around a haunted town. Some of them have become receivers, by blood, by grief, and they're picking up broadcasts the others can't. That's why the experiences are so isolating. That's why nobody believes them. You can't prove you're hearing a frequency that's only transmitting to you. I want to throw in one more piece here, and I'll flag clearly that this part is more of a hunch than the rest, because I think it's worth chewing on. The forest is never quiet. There's this constant low drone under everything in that town. Insects, that cicada hum, the kind of sound your brain files under ambience and stops noticing. When Kenny gets pulled into the music box's reach, there's a cicada in it, and the burn from that dream follows him back into the waking world. In radio, there's a thing called a carrier wave. It's the steady underlying signal that the actual message rides on top of. You don't hear the carrier itself, you hear what's riding it. And I can't stop wondering if that endless forest drone is exactly that. The carrier wave of the town. The always-on background signal that the lullaby, the melody, the voices all ride on top of. It would explain why the forest feels alive and why the sound never fully stops. The town might be humming all the time, and the songs are just what's modulated onto the hum. I can't prove that one, but I'd bet money the sound design isn't an accident, and I'd love to know in the comments if you felt it too. And then, under all of it, there's the one sound the show keeps coming back to. The word the children say, Anghkooey. It means remember. And notice, it's not a symbol they show you. It's not something written. At its core, it's a thing the children say. A sound they make over and over, hoping it gets through. The entire tragedy of this show, when you boil it all the way down, is a group of murdered children making one sound across the centuries, trying to be heard, and a town full of people who can't or won't tune into it. That's why the lullaby works, and nothing else does. The lullaby is the children's frequency. It's the channel they're broadcasting on. When Jade finally plays it, he's not casting a spell. He's tuning the receiver to their station for the first time in lifetimes. And suddenly he can hear them. Anghkooey. Remember, it was always there. Nobody was listening on the right frequency. Let me pull it together, because I think when you stack it all up, it changes how you watch the show. The town is not really fought over with claws and talismans. Those are the surface. Underneath, it's a war over a signal. On one side, you've got the man in yellow, and his entire toolkit is sound used to deceive and control, the voice in Sarah's head, the radio, and I'd argue the killing melody too. He broadcasts forgetting. He gets on your channel and tells you that you're someone else, that none of this is real, that you should just go to sleep, that you should obey the voice. On the other side, you've got the children and the lullaby. They broadcast remember it, the song in the bottles, the melody that gives Tabitha and Jade back their souls, the one word the kids keep saying. Their whole power is getting the truth to play out loud, where someone can finally hear it. And the residents are caught in the middle, most of them with the receiver switched off. A few of them, the bled, the grieving, picking up one station or the other, getting called crazy for it. The reason nobody escapes isn't that the walls are too strong. It's that they've been trying to win a war they can't even hear. You don't get out of this town with a weapon. You get out by tuning into the right song and playing it loud enough that it can't be drowned out. I'll give you 3 predictions, and they're all things I think this framework actually commits to. First, and I feel strongest about this one, the climax of this show is going to be musical. Not a fight, a song. I think it ends with that lullaby being played, probably at the faraway tree, the bottle tree that connects to the lighthouse, because that's where sound and the doorway home overlap. And I think playing it correctly, completely, in the right place, is what finally reaches the children and breaks the cycle. The way out has been a melody the whole time. The finale is going to be someone playing it. Second, Henry. He's been tuned in now, by blood, the same way Boyd was. So I think we're about to watch Henry start hearing things nobody else can. A voice or music, and everyone around him is going to write it off as grief and drinking, exactly the way they wrote off Boyd's shaking as a medical problem. The tragedy is going to be that Henry's the one person who'd know what it means, and nobody will listen to him in time. Third, and this one's more of a warning than a prediction, watch for the man in yellow to try to corrupt the lullaby itself. If both sides fight with sound, the strongest possible move for him isn't to silence the children's song. It's to learn it and play it wrong, to get on their frequency and broadcast a lie in the children's own voice. If you see a moment where the lullaby shows up somewhere it shouldn't, coming from the wrong source, that's him jamming the signal. That's the version of this war that actually scares me. So here's what I'd leave you with. Go back and rewatch this show with your eyes half closed, and just listen. The numbers were a song. The killing was a melody. The villain is a voice. The children have been saying one word for centuries. This whole place has a soundtrack, and the soundtrack isn't underscoring the story. The soundtrack is the story. The residents kept looking for the way out. I think they should have been listening for it. Tell me in the comments if you're hearing it now too. And if you caught a sound cue I missed, a moment where the music does something it shouldn't, drop the timestamp. The best ones make it into the next one. Listen to the town. It's been talking the whole time.